Welcome. This is the June 12th, 2024 meeting of the Berlin Zoning Board of Appeals. It is being held via Zoom webinar. Panelists and attendees are advised that their image, voice, and telephone number may be recorded for the record. I'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. Is that good?
7:01.
7:01. Let me introduce the members of the board. As I call your name, please raise your hand and say present. Jim Roya.
Present.
Denny Bartlett.
Present.
Susanna's not here. Ginny's not here.
Ginny's on.
Pat Jackson.
Present. Present.
Keith Susie.
Present.
And I'll call Ginny as soon as she's...
Here, Lynn.
Hi, Ginny Zakatinsky.
Hi, Lynn.
Leanne Leahy, the Administrative Assistant for Inspection and Land Use Boards.
Here.
And I'm Lynn Ryan. Okay, 7 p.m. We have a hearing.
Yeah, before you open the hearing, Lynn, I did want to confirm for you that the abutter notifications were sent out by the deadline, as well as the two paper advertisements by the deadline.
Thank you. This is 2023-03. It's a petition by Lawrence and Corinne. Is that the name that I'm getting?
Yes, Corinne, yeah.
Dom of 12 Maynard Road for an in-law apartment at that same address. So the petitioners are here?
Yes.
Could you promote them, please?
Yes, I will do that.
Welcome, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What we usually do is we give a opportunity for the petitioner to state the case of what they want to do to the board first, and then we'll ask questions or whatever afterwards. Have you had a chance to review the bylaw as far as in-law apartments go? You have, okay. So you know the limitations and so forth that so you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. So we have an unfinished basement currently, and what we would like to do is put in a small apartment with a kitchenette, bathrooms, bedroom, and a little living space for my daughter and her soon-to-be fiance.
Her husband.
Well, it'll be her husband by the time it's built. We have spoken to the Board of Health and understand there's a couple of things that we have to do to get that cleared by them. But that's pretty much nuts and bolts of what we are asking for.
Okay, we have a letter from the building commissioner, but it lacked a couple of things that we usually ask. Okay. One is, what's the square footage of your living space now?
Okay. I have that somewhere. Probably around 3,200.
Okay. And what's the square footage of the apartment?
It's almost 900.
I'm sorry?
I think it's almost 900, but I'm not sure. Look at that.
Well, that would be well within the 45% for someone who cares to do the math.
It comes out to 28%.
Thank you, Jim. You do understand the restrictions that would be put on the apartment, that we issue these permits for 5 years. And in 5 years,
Okay.
you have to come back and renew it. The premises must be owner occupied. The occupancy of the in-law apartment is limited to no more than 3 persons, at least one of which is related by blood or marriage to the resident owner of the premises. The outside appearance of the premises shall remain that of a single-family residence. All applicable federal, state, and local building and health codes must be satisfied. There must be no other in-law apartment or accessory apartment on the same lot.
Property, right?
Now, you alluded to talking to the Board of Health and that there are some things you have to do. Could you explain to us what you have to
Sure.
do?
So we have to sign the affidavit saying that it would be restricted to a 4-bedroom, a deed restriction. And we also need to put in a new septic tank that is the same size, but would be a split tank. We need a sewage ejector pump, which our plumber had already told us about, and they recommend a water quality test.
Okay. Normally, we request that you get approval from the Board of Health prior to applying for an in-law apartment. It's not unheard of for us to make the permit subject to, with the understanding that if the requirements aren't met, that it would make null and void your permit.
Right.
Do any of the members of the board have any questions?
Is it just gonna be one more bedroom or two?
Yes. No, one.
Just one.
So I have a question.
Yes, Jenny.
You presently are listed as a 4-bedroom.
Right.
Would this not be adding one more bedroom to be a 5-bedroom?
Technically it would be, but what the deed restriction would be is that the other extra bedroom would then become an office.
Oh,
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And then if we sold the house, it would have to be listed as a 4-bedroom.
So you would make arrangements with the assessors to list the house as a 3-bedroom plus a 1-bedroom in-law apartment. Is that correct?
That wasn't my understanding, but we could do that.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Did you, when you were talking before about the sewage ejector specification, did you also say something about a 2-compartment septic tank or 2 tanks?
Yes.
So that's what.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, okay. So that's what they have to determine, the Board of Health, which one that you need for this?
No, both. They said we'd have to replace the current single tank with a dual tank. And the pump, because it's basement and the sewage would have to be pumped up to the septic.
Oh, okay. They just have it funny on here. If a 2-compartment septic tank or 2 tanks in a series, I don't know what the difference was.
That was the other option, but after speaking with a couple of the people who put in septic tanks in the septic system, they said we didn't have enough room to put a serial tank system, so we would have to replace the one that we have.
Oh, you gotta do the compartmentized because you don't have the room.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone on the board have an objection to us voting on this permit based on a condition that they meet all requirements of the Berlin Board of Health? And that they change the listing of their home as a 3-bedroom with an 1-bedroom apartment.
That's going to happen as a result of the building permit being closed out.
Not always.
Well,
Anyone have any other conditions other than those that are required in the bylaw? And you would realize that this is granted to you. It is not transferable. If you were to sell the property, they would have to reapply. And that it would be for 5 years. And that 5 years would start. What happens is when we reach a decision, and if it's favorable and we approve the permit, it goes to the town clerk. The town clerk holds it for 20 days for anyone to appeal. If they appeal, it would have to be to court. And they have to give notice that they've gone to court to appeal our decision. After the 20 days, when the 20 days is over, that's when the 5 years would start.
Okay. And that means that we have 5 years to complete the project. Is that what that means?
No.
No?
It means you have 5 years to use the apartment.
What happens then on a renewal? I mean, if nothing changes or if something changes, say instead of my daughter, it's my mom, for example, who's elderly. If I could, and without being, the reason the planning board put this in here is we found that there were many people getting an in-law apartment and then turning around and making it an apartment. And they were renting to folks that had no relation to them whatsoever.
Okay.
So in order to, if you will, police that, they ask that people come back in 5 years.
Oh, okay.
I doubt very much, I can't guarantee you, but I doubt very much that if you were to come back in 5 years, and if the apartment were going to meet all of the criteria, regardless of the person or persons living in the apartment, as long as they met the criteria, I don't see that there would be a problem, but there is no guarantee.
So just kind of one question. So that person needs to be a blood relative, you're saying?
Yeah. Let me just read from here. It says, occupancy of the in-law apartment is limited to no more than 3 persons, at least one of which is related by blood or marriage to the resident owner of the premises. So that could be a resident. I'm assuming that you own it jointly.
Yeah.
And it would be a relative of either one of you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That answers my question. Okay, one more clarifying question. So coming back at 5 years, if it were another, say my daughter moved out, but it was my mother, another blood relative, is there any likelihood that this would be rejected and we couldn't do that?
At this point in time, I couldn't see one, but I don't think we could make any guarantee. You would still meet the criteria. Again, the basic reasoning, as I understand it, that the planning board put the 5-year restriction in was that people were in turn renting out that apartment on the open market.
Right.
And that is not the intent of an in-law apartment.
Right.
So if you were to replace the relative that lives in the in-law apartment, at this point in time, I cannot see a reason for that being a problem. But again, I can't predict the future.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes sense. I mean, just explain the reason for asking, because if there was some high likelihood, it really wouldn't make sense to ever pursue anything. I mean, if there was only, I get what you're saying. You can't guarantee it now, but if the conditions were the same as they are now and it was a blood relative, in all likelihood, it would seem to be.
If you wanted to do something else or rent it to someone else, that may or may not be an issue depending upon what type of a permit you requested.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And I see the building commissioner's letter, if everybody's had a chance to read that.
Mr. Hanks is also in attendance if you have any questions.
Okay, well, in his letter, he basically said they're within the 35% as far as he was concerned. And maybe he could give us the percentages or the square footages.
Yeah, because I don't remember exactly.
Do you want me to promote him?
Sure, he probably doesn't want to be, but we'll promote him anyway.
No, the guy, the building.
Oh, oh, sorry.
There we are. Good evening.
Good evening, Rich.
How's everybody
Do
today?
you happen to know the square footage on this property?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, all right.
I have, Glenn, if I may, I have the living area off the assessor's field card as 3,486 feet.
Yeah, I thought that the apartment was only like 600 or 700 square feet. It wasn't that big. It was such a difference in size that it didn't even warrant calculating. Just looking at the size of the house compared to what the apartment was, I knew that they were going to be
Right.
way under 35%.
They expected to be around 900 square feet, so that's well within the 35%, I think.
Yeah.
Even when we thought it was 3,200 square feet, Jim did the math quickly and it came up to like 28%.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything?
I'll make a motion that we approve a special permit subject to standard conditions along with the Board of Health approvals for a 5-year period.
Second.
Was that you, Jenny, that seconded it?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take a roll call vote. Jenny?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Ginny?
Yes.
Susanna?
I am going to abstain only because I missed the first 8 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So we will record Jenny, Jim, Keith, Pat, and myself. I'm an I. So we've approved your permit. I want you to know that I'm old and slow. So it may be a couple of weeks before the town clerk gets our written decision. And once she receives the written decision, she will send the decision out, but that's not the end of it for you folks. After the 20 days, you need to go back and get the certification from her in order to put it in the registry of deeds so that it's recorded. So again, you'll receive something in the mail, which will be our decision. And then the 20 days goes by, and then you'll need to contact the town clerk again and pick up her certification in order to record it.
And where does the registry of deeds, where does that go? I mean,
to Worcester.
Okay, so we physically take it or do we mail it?
If it were myself, I would take it.
Okay.
Because you need it stamped and you need to bring it back to the town clerk.
Okay.
So she knows that you've recorded it. Is there anything else, or can we close the hearing?
I'll make a motion that we close the hearing.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Denny,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Keith,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay. Thank you, folks. You're welcome to stay for the rest of our boring meeting, but you know, that's up to you.
Us for dinner. Thank you so much.
Also on the agenda tonight, and let's do this next. We need to reorganize. Every June, we reorganize. So what we will do is we will pass the gavel, so to speak, to Leanne, and she will ask for any nominations for chair of the board. And if a nomination is made, she will ask if there are any others. And then there'll be a vote, and she will conduct the vote on who will be chairman. And once the chairman is selected, then the chairman will conduct the other two positions. So Leanne, I pass you the gavel.
Okey doke. Okay, I will accept nominations for chair of the ZBA for fiscal year 25.
I'll
I
nominate Lynn Ryan.
will second.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. So that was Jim and Ginny? Made the
Yes.
motion? Okay. Sorry, I'm taking notes at the same time. Okay, Jim,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Denny,
Aye.
Ginny,
Aye.
Keith,
Aye.
and Sue.
Aye.
Okay, passes 6-0. Lynn, you are now the chair for FY 25.
Okay, I'll accept nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Jim.
I'll second that.
Okay, so Susanna and Ginny. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Denny,
Aye.
Keith,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Ginny,
Aye.
Susanna.
Aye.
And you and I both voted present, didn't we, Jim?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for clerk of the Board of Appeals.
I'll nominate Dennis Bartlett.
Okay, Jim nominated Denny. Is there a second?
Second, Jenny.
Okay, seconded by Jenny. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll call for a roll call vote. We'll take you as present, Denny. Jim,
Aye.
Keith,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Ginny,
Aye.
and Susanna.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, so we have that out of the way. I don't have the agenda in front of me. Can you lead me, Leanne?
Yes, next is approval of meeting minutes. We have April 10th, in which I need Lynn, Sue, and Jim voting.
Okay, would one of you care to make a motion?
Motion so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? So you said the eligible persons are myself, Jim, and Ginny?
No,
And
I'm
Sue.
me.
Lynn, Jim, and Sue were the only ones in attendance at that meeting.
Okay, again, I'm not hearing you properly. Myself?
Yep.
You, me, and Sue.
Fair enough. Okay, Susanna,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. And the others are abstaining due to their non-attendance.
Right. Okay, and then the May meeting were Lynn, Ginny, Pat, and Keith.
Okay, would one of you care to make a motion?
Motion so moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? So it's Jim, right?
Yep,
Jim, Ginny, and
Pat,
Susanna?
Keith. No,
Okay,
Jim.
Jim.
No, Ginny, Pat, and Keith, and yourself.
Okay. Ginny,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Keith,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
Okay. Next is any warrants.
Do we have any bills to pay, Denny?
Not, so far, it's been very quiet.
Okay, so we can skip over that. And this is any other communications we should be aware of, Leanne?
Yes, well, I want to let Denny know that year-end paperwork from the accounting department has been received, and it's in the basket above the locked mailboxes for you to pick up at your convenience. I received a letter from the select board voting their approval to reappoint Jim as a regular member of the zoning board of appeals with a term to expire June of 2029.
Did we ever straighten out the discrepancy in the dates when
Well,
they did?
I changed it on my town government so it was reflected there, but I don't know as far as Eloise records if it's corrected, but I corrected it on the site.
When they do-si-doed Pat and Susanna, they didn't do-si-do your years. In other words, Susanna was really taking over the remaining portion of Pat, and Pat was taking over the remaining portion of Susanna's.
Okay.
They just changed the names and not the years. So we're trying to get that straightened out. You'll see it in the, if you looked in the town meeting report book. Okay, do we have any other business before us?
No, I'm not expecting anything to be filed tonight. Tonight's the deadline. I'm not expecting anything. There should be something coming for August. So next month, yeah, for August, which would be 3 Gates Pond Road. It's the old Shiru restaurant where there's residences above, and he wants to put his retail store down below. So Rich just sent them their denial letter today. So I don't think they're going to be able to turn around and get everything filed tonight. So they'll probably be filing for an August hearing. And that's the only thing I have in the pipeline.
Do we know what kind of a restaurant it is?
It's not a restaurant. He has a
Retail.
It's a retail business. He does some type of stone, I think like tile and countertops or something like that.
Okay, then. So we will probably have something
for August.
Right. So our July meeting
would be July 10th.
How about availability for the July meeting? Is there anyone, what date would that be, Leanne?
The 10th. July 10th.
Is anyone not available on July 10th? Okay, I'm assuming everyone is. So if you aren't, if you'd please let Leanne know, because oftentimes we'll do a double check if the couple of people find that they're unavailable. Is there anything else?
Nope.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second. Pizza.
Okay, I'll take a roll call. Denny,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Keith,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Ginny,
Aye.
Susanna.
Aye.